kitchen. Coming soon on your public broadcaster. Brought to you by...
Because we've learned to savor the moments that were always there. And they never tasted this good.
Daddy, surprise! Here is a pizza for you. Happy birthday to you.
Daddy, you look not impressed. My daughter, this is not meaningful to me. Hallelujah Natural Drinks is my ideal gift today.
Hallelujah Day. Hallelujah Ginger Tea Drink and Hallelujah Tamarind Drinks are the most perfect, nutritious and healthy products that help everyone to boost their immune system to get complete relief of most sicknesses like joint pains, cough, diabetes, blood pressure, easy digestion and many more, and certified by UNBS. For orders, find us at Bifro House on Sir Apolokagwa Road, opposite MBI. Hallelujah Natural Drinks, perfect for your health. Hallelujah Day.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala. This is Good Morning Uganda.
The wake of the 18th day of February 2021 does come with a lot of conversations that have marred it. We've had blackouts in terms of journalists being beaten up brutally, and then we've also had blackouts in terms of power. Last evening, almost the entire Kampala had a total blackout. One wonders why. But this is Good Morning Uganda, and we're ready to set you up for yet another day. But the other interesting thing that also happened yesterday was the fact that Ash Wednesday, that kicks off the 40 days of fasting for Christians, also happened. And now people like Felix should be fasting, or at least I hope. Yeah, so Felix, good morning to you. And are you into the 40 days? Have you started your 40 days? And what are you fasting anyway?
Well, that I'll keep to myself. But of course, I learned it start yesterday with the Ash Wednesday, definitely one of the practices, the religious practices of the Catholic Church. But in relation to that, Priscilla, I just want to read for us a very beautiful verse that does touch me, coming from Jeremiah 1, 17 to 19. Now, it does also say, "Thou therefore get up the lions, arise and speak unto them all that I command thee. Be not dismayed at their faces, lest I confound thee before them. Now for behold, I have made thee this day the fenced city and an iron pillar and brazen walls against the whole land, against the kings of Judah, against the princes thereof, and against the priests thereof, and against the people of the land." But the beauty of this particular verse lies in this statement. He also goes ahead to say, that is good. "And they shall fight against thee, but they shall not prevail against thee. For I am with thee, saith the Lord, to deliver thee."
And the Lord's people said, Amen. So this gives us a challenge for the next 40 days here on Good Morning Uganda. We shall be sharing a scripture. And so, Pastor Felix, thank you so much. Now we have Reverend Shirabo that is joining us this morning also. Good morning to you, Reverend Shirabo.
Good morning, people of God. Let's first humble ourselves for a word of prayer as we begin this show. Heavenly Father, we come before you this morning, putting our lives before you, believing that you're the Alpha and Omega. You know everyone's destiny. May we walk in your will as we move in these 40 days of fasting to know you more and also live better lives. In Jesus' mighty name we prayed.
Amen.
Yeah. Well, yesterday I was listening to one radio station, and there was Reverend Father Ntezi who preached and said, Christians, even after Lent, let's remain changed people. Let this not be just something for a period, that we're in the 40 days, but even after. And he said, if we would do this, some of the ills in our society would not be there. Corruption and others I won't mention would not be there. So it's not all about the 40 days only. Yes, it's a time for you to examine yourself spiritually, but even the 40 days, continue living a Christ-like life. So that was the message, and we want all those fasting to ensure it's not just, even to our brothers the Muslims, it's not only in Ramadan when you should live a godly life, but even after, continue living the same life. So that is a very good message for the period of Lent. But Priscilla, you've mentioned so much that happened yesterday.
Power blackout. Did you have the power blackout?
Yes.
For how long was yours?
Well, I didn't follow up that much.
Yeah.
But one thing I noticed, I didn't know that Kampala is ugly without electricity.
And it's impossible also without electricity. Yeah.
I had to go and pick something for my little one. Wasn't feeling fine. So I drove through the same route that I always move. It was so dark. It was so ugly.
Yeah.
I said, oh.
The only light you can rely on was your light and maybe light from the vehicles on the road. Yeah.
This is how Kampala can be minus lights.
I will tell you, by the way, there were even barely any borders at 8 p.m. That is how hard it is without power in Kampala. But also, we do have a very interesting thing that is happening in the USA. They are having a thorough winter storm that is actually in so many states. North Carolina, it's in Washington, and it's to the extent of a power blackout because the degrees are almost to -2 degrees as far as coldness is concerned. And so they've had, in the last 3 days, the best that they've had is about 3 hours of power. The rest has been a blackout. Felix, are your people well?
Definitely. My people are well. That's why I had to bless God this morning with that very beautiful verse, because the verse does connote that He will put His back out for you in every situation, even against the kings of the lands who juxtaposes themselves as most important, even for those who beat people. But anyway, speaking about health.
But your solar battery is fine. Your solar is
That's how I just told you that. Okay, depends which solar battery now we're talking about. Because if you're talking about electricity, I was just here wondering, where do you people live? And in which era? You people know that every household, at least up till today, has a solar backup. I'm just thinking out loud.
Well, Felix, it's very good to understand the country in which you are and how many people are living an ordinary life. There are people even where electricity is celebration. I went to some
luxury.
It's a luxury. So these things
in some places, electricity means that you're mlodi, like you're very rich.
That says a lot about the state of this country. Then, if that's actually, and the reality of the same, I don't deny. But I know that in the 21st century, we should have moved away from excitement in things like water, electricity, just to mention. But and let me tell you something. There's a time I traveled somewhere and I was looking for something they call, I think, a UPC something. This is like a battery that is used to keep a computer running even without.
Recharger,
Now, when I talked about it, people were laughing at me. And these were guys from Germany, like, what is that? Like, they never heard of it.
Why do you need it in the first
place? They don't even know what it is because they don't know the word blackout. UPS. They don't know of that. And I'm like, okay. Then I had to compose myself because I was talking about buying a computer. Like, then I have to buy this thing that will keep. I'm like, so I can tell you, it's strange. Issues of electricity in the modern century and civility of countries like Uganda.
Someone you reminded me of a friend of mine who came back from the UK. So their phone blacks out and I'm busy offering a power bank. What's that? They had no idea what a power bank is because their phones do come with the self-rechargers now. So when it comes to power banks, what are those? Surely Africa is still
and for me, Priscilla, talking about that, you've talked about US, you've talked about the whites. Now I come back home. You've reminded me when I one time traveled to a place in Masaka, and at night when electricity came back, the whole village was screaming.
Yeah, we've had those ones. You know that time when Umeme takes off the power for like 3 days? When it comes, let me tell you, by the way, let me just give you my experience. There's a time Umeme took off the power for like 3 days and it was a weekend into the weekend. Do you know, I even had to go and visit people who had power so that I could stay sane. Power is very important. And so I only had to call back home and find out if power is back. But how do you call? Their phones have also blacked out. So I just risked my life and went back home on Sunday evening, and thankfully it was back.
And that's
like when I walked in, that's when it came back, and everyone went. Yeah, so
talking about electricity, power and excitement, let's take a look at some of the stories that were in our bulletins for the last about 12 hours. So in case you missed, here's a recap of some of those main stories. Beginning with yesterday, Uganda joined the rest of the world Christians to celebrate Ash, a Wednesday that ushers in or kickstarts the Lent period in the Catholic Church. According to Reverend Father Matthias Ntezi of Christ the King Church, he appealed to Christians fasting in this holy month to repent of their sins, sacrifice and believe in the Holy Gospel.
The European Union delegates visited the National Resistance Movement Secretariat to discuss matters arising from the just concluded general elections. The delegation, led by the European Union Ambassador Attilio Pacifis, emphasized the relation between them and Uganda, that no one can agitate it. Attilio's remarks fall on the heels of a resolution adopted by the European Union MPs demanding for the sanctions to be imposed on individual Ugandans and organizations that were involved in human rights violations.
Relatedly, the government of Uganda has laughed back at European Union resolutions urging member states to slap sanctions on Uganda government officials and some agencies on grounds of violation of human rights. The government spokesperson Ofono Pondo and Minister for ICT Judith Nabakoba have all maintained that the sovereignty of Uganda must be respected amidst all circumstances.
Away from that, tragedy did befall residents of Lusaze in Rubaga division when 3 households of refugees include Kamaledo, Chibingila and also Mrs. Jocelyn Kasika from Congo, among others, were attacked by unknown people. The unidentified welding men with machetes broke inside the houses of the refugees with suspected intentions of murder.
The transport sector, where border riders in Kasese municipality have requested authorities to adjust on their working time to 10 p.m. from the current 6 p.m., saying this will help bring fairness in the transport sector. The border cyclists in Kasese expressed their dissatisfaction through holding a peaceful demonstration of parking their border motorcycles at the RDC's office, which in one way or the other paralyzed transport means for the pedestrians who found it hard to go to their workplaces because they often use border means of transport.
The Parliamentary Committee on Commissions, Statutory Authorities and State Enterprises is yet to engage the Solicitor General and the Public Service Commission to clear the double pension rota of staff at Kampala Capital City Authority. This follows a stinging burst probe by COSASE on the double payment pension enjoyed by KCCA staff, yet to be unleashed for debate. The matter derives from a petition which the Speaker of Parliament, Rebecca Kadaga, referred to COSASE in February last year.
Party politics, where Uganda People's Congress, UPC, is satisfied with the presidential and parliamentary election results. Uganda People's Congress President Jimmy Akena appealed to political actors not to follow propaganda of other parties but accept the outcomes and move on. This comes hot on the heels of the January elections and the new normal in a wake of COVID-19 pandemic.
And finally, bringing it to a round for the local news, Ugandans who have been enjoying driving on Entebbe Express Highway freely since its completion in the next 3 months will have to start paying for the road usage. EGIS operator SA Company from France was granted a contract to collect the road fee from road users. This was communicated by Uganda National Roads Authority, UNRA, while giving half-year performance report for the financial year 2020-2021. So a company from France is being contracted to do gate collections on a Ugandan road.
I just don't know how
really?
How you picked that. That's exactly what I was
How does that work?
So I'm just, as we promote...
How exactly?
Then, is this because when we had the gentleman, head of corporate affairs from PPDA, he said that contracts whereby it's something not above 45 million.
No, let me ask you, Shirab, what is so hard about soliciting? First of all, it's a machine thing. just like what we have at the airport. You simply click in and then you get your receipt, you make your transaction. It's as simple as that. Why do we need a Frenchman into our country? And yet they are refusing the reports that is coming in from the European Union. They are bringing in Europeans into our country. What do we expect?
Priscilla, I'm not the right person to answer for that. But I'm equally dismayed like you are.
They can create a department in UNRWA maybe that can do this.
First and foremost, even why contract?
It's not a magic machine.
I just believe even UNRWA has the capacity. If it's not having enough staff, there's so many, you know, if you're pushing for Bubu, let's also push for the same in other sectors, not only what we produce in Uganda. These jobs, even if there are 5 or 6 or 10.
Yeah, because if they say they want to do it in 3 months, they have 3 months to actually set up a department, get it trained by an expert, and then that expert team can start. I mean, how many shells are they, by the way? If we talk about like the ones I've seen, there are six shells. So those are 6 to maybe 12 people that need to manage that. The rest can be done by technology.
Again, charge.
You get it? No, I have an idea for UNRWA.
Hope it's not too late.
I can volunteer my time to help with this predicament. Let me call it a predicament. Felix, what do you have to say about this matter?
Point of pain or consolidation with the background of knowing the country where I live, the scorching poverty, the unemployment of the very many youth in this country. And I feel that some of these government institutions and their leaders continuously re-echo the statements of Marie Antoinette. Then, in the French Revolution, that did
if you don't have bread, eat cake.
You government officials, some of you and your entities, this is what you're telling Ugandans. If you don't have jobs, you go and probably contract or do a surgery somewhere. You're sending someone who doesn't have anything to eat, and you're simply dancing on their pain. But France, congratulations, and the company that will also come to do whatever they will be doing. But it's a pity, and it's something we can laugh about over and over.
I mean, let me just say, at least contract a fellow African country.
But the good thing
so that we say that we're in sync. At least let's look within the region. I'm pretty sure.
For every contract, there's an element of subcontracting.
Yes.
And when you hire these companies, when they actually come home, they employ Ugandans.
Why does how much revenue is given to a Ugandan vis-a-vis how much is taken out of Uganda?
But also the thing,
when you put that comparison, it's not the same.
If you look at some of these expatriate contracts, they don't have repatriation percentages. That probably, because you're looking at what you're expatriating your money. You're paying other countries. Uganda needs money. And you and me know, you're always borrowing left, right, center. You're borrowing for fish, you're borrowing for crabs, you're borrowing even for the simplest things like buying cars, ambulances. So,
but also, Priscilla and Felix, finally on this, before we go into international news, we must understand that sometimes maybe there's also terms and conditions to when we get these grants and loans, that they come with some ties that the public domain may not know.
Let us know about them so we won't say whatever we are saying. But of course, speaking about saying what we have to say in relation to some of these stories, but speaking about Europe, we're looking at now the UN boss says 10 nations used 70% of all vaccines. Antonio Guterres there urges wealthy nations to lead global effort to ensure people in every country get inoculated with the COVID as soon as possible. Now, the vaccine equity is the biggest moral test before the global community, and UN Secretary General there, Antonio Guterres, say the same. The United Nations chief has sharply criticized the widely uneven and unfair distribution of COVID-19 vaccines, pointing out that just 10 countries have administered 70% of all the vaccinations. Addressing a high-level meeting of the UN Security Council on Wednesday, he did come out to say that 130 countries have not received a single dose of the vaccination. At this critical moment, vaccine equity is the biggest moral test before the global community. Now, Facebook has blocked Australian users of its platform from reading and sharing local and international news, stepping up its campaign against government plans to force technology giants to pay publishers for their new content. Now, the proposal the proposed law fundamentally misunderstood. It was caused to misunderstand the relationship between our platform and the publisher who used it to share news content, Facebook said in a blog post announcing the move. Now, it has left us facing a stark choice: attempt to comply with the law that ignores the realities of this relationship, or stop allowing news content on our services in Australia. Now, with a heavy heart, we are choosing the latter. Now, crossing back to Africa, we'll be looking at South Africa come out to launch its first rollout of the COVID-19 vaccine, that is the Johnson & Johnson jab. South Africa has kicked off its vaccination campaign against COVID-19 by injecting healthcare workers with a shot developed by Johnson & Johnson as part of the observational study. And the first healthcare worker was inoculated at 1 p.m. there on Wednesday at the Kishlitia District Hospital in Cape Town. Now, following the arrival of 80,000 vaccine doses to Johannesburg at Johannesburg International Airport the night before, the President Cyril Ramaphosa, also with Health Minister Zaweli Munkezeli, Deputy Health Prime Minister Joe Fala, were also among the first to be vaccinated. Now, this day marks a milestone for South Africa. Finally, vaccines are here and they are being administered, Ramaphosa told reporters as he sought to allay any fears among South Africans skeptical about inoculating drive that has been hit by delays and the spread of misinformation. Well, that's basically what is happening on the international scene, much of that. But clearly also something that is quite eye-catching is what happened in South Africa. As I was talking earlier to one of our directors, and we were discussing, if all countries are rolling out the vaccination, shouldn't we be also clearly excited or concerned why the delay is coming onto countries like our own Uganda? In the midst of discussions of politics, no one who's discussing the vaccination. I want to hear the parliament discuss vaccination. We have tired to listen to corruption cases, research, corruption. I think that song is quite monotonous and tiring in our ears. Who is talking about vaccination? Who's discussing vaccination as a matter of fact? Yes, Robert.
Felix, it's very saddening that actually when you look at many of the talks in Parliament, priority may not have been so much put on vaccination of Ugandans. There was an attempt, and all we are assured is that come May, we'll have a vaccination here. But also we've had mixed communication. One will say we are bringing this, we are bringing that. But also I think priorities for countries differ depending at a particular time. Maybe that is all I can say for now.
Probably also depending on leadership, Priscilla.
Well, it's a new normal, so I think it's going to take a while for leadership of any country to actually understand that they need to be influential in how the management of COVID-19 is. But that being said, can I take you guys away from that story? Facebook. I feel like we should have an international boycott to Facebook, because it has become like a lackluster kind of thing. Facebook blocking, Facebook, putting out accounts and things like that, as if they've become a superpower of themselves of sorts. The influence of social media into the rest of democracy. Felix, is this really important? Is Facebook that important?
It is only you people, you the millennials, as I've always said, who think it is flashy, it is wowing, it is... Though I find it a little bit boring, though. It is for people who haven't had much to occupy them. I feel it's a fallacy, so it is what it is for some of those people who are interested about it. But speaking about what it is, Priscilla, I want today morning to offer you this that the Lord has made to thee, my dearest Priscilla.
Oh, thank you.
Please
so much.
take Hallelujah tamarind drink.
Okay.
As it does carry a lot of goodies into it that are basically also about your body, your facial, your appearance, your gait, your glamour, your bliss, all these things. You can get them when you do take Hallelujah ginger to drink. And the same is anchored in what you believe to be, that is potable water, sucrose, ginger, mulondo, strawberry, just to mention but a few. So kindly, all our viewers out there, before you start your day with hallelujah ginger tea drink and hallelujah tamarind drink. Robert, have you had yourself hallelujah ginger tea drink?
Well, I'll stick to this. You know, I'm a sweet tooth. So turmeric, I tried it. It wasn't so much working out for me. But for me, I would go for hallelujah ginger tea drink because, you know, ginger helps clear the throat. Sometimes maybe you wake up and you feel the moment you take hallelujah ginger tea drink, you're done. It clears your throat, and above all, like Felix said, it has enormous benefits, but it boosts your immune system. Now, we've not yet gotten the vaccine in Uganda, so how do we best fight COVID-19?
It's coming.
It's coming, yes, but we've not yet, but it's coming.
They said around May it will be here.
Around May. But before that, this is how best you can prevent. Perfect the drills and also boost your immune system by taking foods, by taking drinks that are important to your body and will enable you fight a number of diseases, including COVID-19.
Well, speaking of drills, just to remind you that the SOPs do still stand. Please wear your mask. I mean, I was watching news yesterday, the delegation that was going to the UN offices, and people were not wearing their masks. Why are you not wearing your mask? It is your life after all. If anything happens to you, you cannot blame anybody else. You can neither blame the government. So please do wear your mask today and ensure that you have it on for 24 hours, except when you're sleeping and bathing. But also social distance, and make sure that you carry yourself a sanitizer in your bag or in your coat or in your those briefcases for people who carry briefcases. Anyway, you're still watching Good Morning Uganda. We do have a special song coming through, but you can always be a part of the show on our social media platforms. On YouTube, we're definitely streaming, and you can find us on our channel, which is UBC Television Uganda. On Twitter at UBC TV Uganda, and our hashtag is UBCGMU. When we return, we get to talk about the brutality that happened yesterday.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala. This is Good Morning Uganda.
is they sing about them, they carry a message, though most of the times we've come to notice that if it is not about love, it is either about the happenings in society. And Felix, this one song is a soundtrack to some movie. Is it Had I Known? And there we go this morning for our viewer.
Felix, what is the name of that movie?
Had I
Known. Okay, all right.
The song is Issues.
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 You're teaching us the Englishman's language.
I'm just saying, didn't you guys do vowels? Did you do vowels?
Priscilla, remember
English
the vowels?
class. AK
Va, ve, vi, vo, vu. When you have I and S, I is what? A, E, I. Then you have I and S is pronunciation wise.
Continue.
Issues.
Continue.
Yes, issues. Yes.
Now,
yes.
one of my friends that is no good time, I know, I say the issue. But my grandfather late used to say issue, the issue, but the word is issues.
Okay.
Robert, do you want to try it?
No.
Okay. So basically, that's the song. It's a very nice song, but it's just a reminiscence of how you pick on the most important points. You pick on the most important points of your life, and that is what you focus on. So the song is just simply issues. Yeah.
And talking about focusing on most important issues, this morning we are focusing on the most important issue for us who are in this fraternity, in this profession. Most important issue. Yes, Priscilla. You're just reminding me of someone who told me, we had this person who traveled. The first people who traveled and went to US. And so when they came back, he couldn't even pronounce Nkaka and also
Nkaka
and all that. So I hope.
And then the other one was
and the other would tongue twist and also change with the lips and they were speaking.
But it's only natural. But I had also attended one wedding and this chick was saying to his sisters, like, oh, okay.
No, it's like the person who went to Sudan and came back with an American accent.
I know, I think I know that.
I now go to the Arab Emirates and they come back with speaking some American English. We've been outside, then some say, in our country, Uganda. But anyway, away from that,
they become foreigner.
We come back to real business, serious business. And that is actually what happened yesterday.
So wait, if I might say, I would like to say hello to our Joy Desire at Kachope, at Puli, and everyone in the diaspora, the foreigners, but you're Ugandan, and every single morning you join us on Good Morning Uganda. Good morning to you, and thank you so much for always choosing UBC as your choice for the morning.
Yes, the Pulis, Kachope, and many others. We now head to serious business. Why am I calling this serious business? Because this is something that also affects us. It is about the continued brutality against journalists, members in this profession. Many times we say, these are messengers. So we've seen the messengers, people carrying a message, most of the time, some ending up in hospitals, some ending up even their lives not remaining the same after what they go through in the line of duty. Yesterday, we saw what happened as Robert Kyagulanyi Sentamu was taking a petition that is to the United Nations regarding human rights violation in Uganda, and he was with a group of people, and the police said that this is something they could not allow because in the times of COVID-19 and processions of any nature were banned from taking place. So after heavy deployment, then there were clashes, and we saw a couple of journalists at the end of the day being injured. However, Kyagulanyi Sentamu and two other NUP officials were allowed to proceed to the offices before a military officer ordered soldiers to ensure that just not get some of these footages. I'll begin with you, Priscilla. In this profession, we know that you're supposed to tell a story. And many of the times we've seen that people that go to cover news, people that leave home to go and do their daily duties, at times end up sustaining injuries at the hands of security operatives.
Well, it's a pity, and our hearts and our prayers are with the journalists that faced this dismay. It's unbecoming, especially given the fact that we have just left the same conversation barely 2 months ago, and we continue to see this occurring yet again.
Where there was a boycott?
Yes.
Yes, the journalists
Yes.
later and said we're not going to cover such and such and activities of police security until some issues have been resolved. Neither were they. And this has been the order over and over.
Okay, so what can I say and what can I not say? It's a very interesting position to be in this morning, knowing that we are journalists ourselves, and as you've stated, we are meant to be the storytellers, or the link between what is existing and who wants to know what is existing. And yes, Robert Chagulanyi was taking the petition with some people to the UN Human Rights Office that is in Kololo. And we saw what happened. It was point blank clear. If Flavia Bekwaso, Brigadier Flavia Bekwaso, came out and made a statement and said that one of them attacked the officers or the military, and that enticed them to attack back in order to disperse. But if it's attack back in order to disperse, clearly from the video or the footages, you see that people are dispersing off and taking off for their lives. They're running away, and that was indication enough that, okay, they've hid to the beating and they're moving away from the scene. But from the footage that we see, they are beating to the extent of someone is getting into the car and you're still hitting them and you're hitting the car, and people sustained serious injuries that they had to get stitched up in hospital. Some are still in hospital right now. You're talking about them being affected physically, emotionally, their jobs, the media houses that they represent, and society as a whole. I think it's time that we united forces and stood up against this brutality, because nothing can, it clearly shows that nothing came out of what we experienced in December, and nothing might come out if we continue just having this and then covering it with a blanket. Someone needs to speak up about the protection, about the safety of journalists while they are on duty. They need to be protected. And interesting to note that they should be partners with law enforcers. But this partnership is not being seen. It's not visible anymore.
Because much as, yes, we need peace and security, security also needs journalists to communicate. Let's go back to the times of COVID-19, where we're in a lockdown. Everything that was done, it was, and people had to get information, it was through the journalists. So there must be coexistence, and there must be tolerance, and also better understanding each other. But before Felix comes in, I want to briefly read a statement from Kampala Metropolitan Police spokesperson. And this is Patrick Onyango. He said, Robert Chagulanyi, aka Bobby Wine, brought more of his supporters and officials beyond the recommended number. They had to use force. The petition was scheduled to appear on Friday. However, he disregarded, this is Onyango, I wanted this before Felix can come in. However, he disregarded the guidelines and held an illegal procession and assembly involving borders, motorcycles, supporters walking on foot. That is according to Mr. Onyango. Although we respect the rights of citizens to freely assemble and express themselves, the health and safety of all Ugandans and visitors and rule of law remains our top priority. As a reminder, all unlawful rallies, assemblies and processions are still restricted under the health protocol in Uganda.
You've talked about, the statement talks about how there was exceeding beyond the recommended number. It's a pity that we're going to be hiding under this word, recommended number, but the number is never going to be stated. Let's refer back to election times. The initial number was 70 people for a gathering, and was moved up to 200 persons per gathering. If we look at general functions that are around city, Kwanjura's weddings, they're having acceptance of gatherings to 100 people. So did this procession go beyond that number? If we're going to go by those as the recommended numbers, I guess the answer would be no. So then the question is, can they give us an actual number upon which this recommendation is, so that we know if it was actually abused or not abused.
For this
Otherwise,
particular purpose,
this
the
is going to be
recommended
the
number,
continuous conversation of recommended number. A procession exceeding recommended number. Which is the recommended number?
For this particular case, the recommended number was Robert Chagulan and 3 others that will be accepted at this particular venue. So that was the recommended number, according to police, which actually they believe Chagulan violated, because if I held a press conference, he had borders, he had relatives of missing persons, according to them. So there were a group that superseded what they had agreed upon as police and him if they were to take that position. Yes, Felix?
Just probably I was trying to listen to what you're reading by Onyango, and I was just admiring the lousy English. But also, I think he can't repeat those statements even if you asked him off cuff, because clearly those are scripts of security agencies. I don't think that comes from his heart. The discussion of numbers, for me, I find it diversionary. I want to concentrate my attributions on the battering and the grievous, one would also call awful, appealing, horrific. Basically, it's a load of pants, if I may carry that language now, from the behavior of the military. I find that as a load of pants for a security institution, for what they did onto the journalism fraternity. It's equally not a standard practice, and we are wondering if this is an ownership of the coercive forces of this country, because then there we shall get direction of our discussion. It is either isolated, an individual responsibility, or either an institutional castigation. That will also shape our discussion. If the case would be that institutions that are coercive have lodged war on a professional body or practitioners, journalists for that matter, then we should know how to deal with it. If there are individuals in these institutions who have lodged war, then also it will give us direction. What you saw yesterday is something you may never live to see. I was talking earlier before we came on set, Robert, and we were saying that it seems far from us. But those today that are in hospitals, I saw one of the reporters, not 1, 2, or 3, and they were being stitched. Their heads were being stitched. Chilabo, you leave your home in the morning to go and win bread for your little ones and your loved ones as well. And the next they hear of you is that you're in hospital because of another man who came to win bread. It's painful. Time and again, we have had issues. We remember the issues of attacks on the fraternity of journalism have been celebrated by some institutions. Most recent, you saw the IGP of the would-be honorable institution like a police, and they come out boldly to tell journalists, we will beat you, we will batter you. And he laughed after the statement, thinking it was actually funny. He promised what you saw. You get the point. This was it was simply an execution. Yeah, it was a delivery on a promise, so it was executing a promise that was done by the IGP. I have grown knowing, Robert, that no one is more important. When it comes to life, the denominator is staying alive. Whether you're a president, whether you're IGP, whether you're a mentally ill person on the road, the denominator of life is staying alive. Now, the reason why people must stay alive, because there is no dead body that is useful. Even if the queen died or the king, their corpse is as useless as rubbish. If I may add, I don't think they're there. And yesterday I watched this whole story with almost teared down. Robert, it is wrong for fellow human beings to put onto themselves responsibility of herding others. I use the word herding in terms of cow. Okay? Chagulanyi is a Ugandan. You could have disagreements, political disagreements, and that is your business. But Priscilla Naroga is a woman who left home to come and work. She is running. You saw the footage. Some of you are viewers, you saw this footage.
She's heading to what?
She's running. You've said it, go away. People are worried, and they are running. There's a gentleman, I think, of NTV who fell down with a camera, and they beat him from down. They tore his head. Uganda. I remember there's one time a colleague of mine told me that you cannot beat someone who's already down. Have you heard those statements? You have someone and they're down, but you're still beating them. For some of the families, you know what I'm talking about. You relate to this kind of thing. It happens a lot in families between women and men. You can't beat someone who's already down. What's the use? I want to say this lastly. The institutions like police and military are important. They are very important. Okay? They're important in terms of keeping peace, security. But I can tell you what's also important. Even a grade 1 teacher is important. Even a person today who sweeps the roads of Kampala there is important.
Yes.
You people in government, and I want to speak at government because I don't want these things of hiding under niceties, the military, because there's a head. There's order, there's lineage somewhere. It ends up somewhere on the top. Don't feel so important than any other Ugandan. Because the day you walk on a road that is mud with dirt, rotten what, that's when you feel it. The day your children go to school without a teacher is when you know that a teacher is actually important. The doctors, the lawyers, everyone. Let's respect people and their professions. Uganda cannot be full of soldiers.
Well, in the interest of time, Priscilla, finally.
I have a question for you, Robert. We have posted here Officer Anatoly. And I remember during the election times, we asked a very important question. How must police conduct themselves in dealing with protests and processions of this nature? And what was his response?
He said there is what they call proclamation. Well, first they warn that please, if you're not part of this, please go away. And then if you do not, that is when they will unleash force, minimum or reasonable force to that effect.
Okay. So did we see this happening yesterday?
Well, that didn't happen.
Well,
time is against
us.
But
the system is failing.
Time is against us, but we must also call upon the army, call upon government. Please, let's not let these cases just go by. Let's hold people accountable. Every time of such an incident, you've said you're going to investigate and come up with a clear report. Can we have this so that we know who is wrong and who is held accountable? Otherwise, precedence is seeming that these things happen and they're let to go anyhow. So people can commit them with impunity. Well, when we return, Priscilla will be taking us, we will be looking at what is trending in the print media. Keep it on UBC TV. We'll return shortly.
This is Good Morning Uganda.
Enjoy great value from Airtel with the all-new My Pakalast combo offers. We have customized especially for you the best deals on minutes, data and SMS with our 3-in-1 My Pakalast combo to give you the best value as you stay in touch with friends and family. To activate My Pakalast voice combo, dial *100 *2 *1 hash to get started.
Airtel, the smartphone network.
Buyogera nyaffe Uganda ku Radio Africa tolemwa kumwenya olw'akamwenyumwenyu akajjudde abanywanyi. Embeera y'obudde yatukolako mukwano n'obutonde obutubeezaawo ne butusobozesa buli omu okubeerawo mu ngeri ye kuba ffenna tuli banjawulo ne mu ngeri gye tukwasaganyamu emirimu gyaffe. Naye ekitugatta ne tufuuka omuntu omu bwe buwoomyo buva mu kyokunywa ekyaleeruya Untitled drink n'aleeruya tamarind drink eddekende erikumala ennyonta ate nga wejjanjaba omubiri gwo. Ekyokunywa kino kye kitegeera embiri gyaffe kuba kya butonde 100 ku 100. Woomerwa ekyokunywa kirimu omubisi gw'enkooge. Aleluya tamarind drink n'aleluya Untitled drink bikolebwa ba Aleluya Reflexology Healthy Solution and Nutritional Research Center Limited. Weefunira ekyokunywa kya Aleluya leero okuva ku maduuka wonna. Bakubire ku noti 393 24 15 66.
Coming soon on UBC. Food is more than just a great meal. It's even better when it's prepared with art. The Big Kitchen, coming soon on your public broadcaster, brought to you by...
Because we've learned to savor the moments that were always there, and they never tasted this good.
Are you money wiser? As we seek to improve our knowledge on the understanding of money matters, before any money leaves your life, ask yourself, am I money wiser?
The Be Money Wiser talk show is here to give you a platform to share your real-life financial experiences to be able to unlearn, relearn, and transform your lives.
I took a loan. I invested the money and it disappeared.
We need to decipher and understand whether forex trading is indeed so risky or manageably risky for all of us to invest in.
You can have trust with your clients, trust them anyhow that you can, as long as they're paying in cash.
Let's be money wiser.
Welcome to English in a Minute. This is a weasel. These wild animals are small and tricky.
Wow, Anna. Looks like you could use some help. Let me carry that.
Thanks, Jonathan. I can always count on you. Jessica, not so much.
She weaseled out of helping you again, didn't she?
Yes, she did. She's a weasel.
To weasel out of something means to successfully avoid doing something in a dishonest or clever way. This phrasal verb has a mostly negative meaning. You can also call someone a weasel, like Anna did. Some animals just have a bad reputation. And that's English in a Minute.
It's no secret that ICT makes learning easy.
The strides made in our field could not be possible without it.
And now we can watch our favorite shows.
My radio is my best friend.
UCC provides an enabling regulatory environment and policy guidance for healthy competition. We also facilitate ease of doing business in the communications sector through licensing, standardization, spectrum management, tariff regulation, rural communication development, and consumer empowerment. An informed consumer is an empowered consumer. UCC supports local content and innovations. Driving the development of a robust communication sector in Uganda is Uganda Communications Commission.
Hello, my name is Dr. Henry Dogu, a consultant in hematology and oncology. Health promotion and disease prevention programs focus on keeping people healthy. They aim to engage and empower individuals and communities to choose healthy behaviors and make changes that reduce the risk of developing chronic diseases and other illnesses. Join me on New Health Chat every Thursday at 9 p.m. on UBC TV, sponsored by National Medical Stores, who are mandated to procure, store and distribute essential medicines and medical supplies to all public health facilities in the country.
If you want to benefit from the cabbage, you can decide to go for the dry season planting or the wet season planting. Those are key things to look at. But the other bit is about the yield and the maturity period.
Agriculture has been for years forming the backbone of Uganda's economy, contributing approximately 37% of local growth, with 80% of the population practicing agriculture.
Green tea is different from black tea.
Green tea does not go through the fermentation process of the factory, meaning that it has retained all the medicinal values in it.
This is a good leaf for plucking.
Join us every Wednesday as we showcase comprehended and well-researched episodes on agriculture, on the new innovations, planting, harvesting, modern technologies, and more you would like to know in the farming field.
The farmers, they no longer bring the more of comb honey.
So after extracting the honey from the frames, then they are removed and placed back in a super.
Farm Matters, a program where all your farming needs are addressed.
Solution to farmers for what they need. What farmers need is income in their pocket, isn't it? It's about money in the pocket.
This program has helped me to improve farming skills. Keep watching Farm Matters at UBC.
Live from Now Avenue in UBC Studios. This is Good Morning Uganda.
Well, it is raining outside and Uganda is the pearl of Africa indeed. It could be raining here in Kampala and some parts of within Kampala metropolitan it's not raining. You tell a person you're living in Entebbe, hey, it's raining, I can't get to the city.
I know, there's a friend of mine who was within the city center and they were heading to Munyonyo, but it apparently was very shining in Munyonyo. People were even swimming in Munyonyo. So they were about to make a phone call and say, I'm delaying because of rain. But when he got there, it was actually not raining. So surprise, surprise. And by the way, true fact, I have tested it over and over again on Entebbe Road from Queensway, between Queensway and Chibuye. Halfway the road, it can rain, and halfway the road, it's not raining. Test it today. If you are coming from that side or heading to that side, right now would be a good time to test that theory. You'll be surprised. Chibuye is very dry.
So just remind you, rainfall is not an excuse because your boss might not have seen it rain anywhere. But it's time we look at some of the stories that are in the dailies. I have the New Vision and Priscilla has, that is the Daily Monitor. Interesting, finally, NSSF midterm access approved members to get up to 20% of their savings. That's a story in the New Vision, just on page 9. Still in the New Vision, Christians mark the beginning of Lent. That was yesterday. 40 days of spiritual renewal and examination. We also see Chagulanyi submits list of alleged detainees, that is to UN. Government to recruit 3,000 teachers. Government has finalized plans to recruit 3,096 teachers. Also, government response to EU Parliament resolutions, and for learning at home, that is pass O level, they bring you biology, English and physics. Then over 210 tenders offers, that is in National Drug Authority, NADS, Uganda Electricity Generation Company Limited, Africa College of Commerce and Technologies. There for you. Yes, Priscilla.
Daily Monitor is bringing you stories in the likelihood of education, and Daily Monitor today. Looking at education, government to recruit over 3,000 secondary school teachers. And for the Daily Monitor today, they're looking at do not go into marriage with a lot of expectations, point blank. MPs okay access to NSSF savings at 45, and that's a midterm access that has been given a leeway. You look at the scoreboard, how Kadaga Olanyaha performed in Parliament, and the scores are looking at the 9th Parliament and the 10th Parliament for each of them. So read about the details of the 2 speakers of Parliament in reference to the Daily Monitor. In news, they're looking at security beating up journalists. They also have Uganda tells off EU lawmakers on sanctions. And the Lizard is responding to the very same thing we were responding to here earlier on. French firm to collect toll on Express. Money can't be trusted with local funds? Surely? Anyway, we continue. What do you have in the New Vision?
In the New Vision, as we head to Women's Day, that is on the 8th of March, they bring you pictures of women hustling, making ends meet. And today they bring you Sandra Owagage Mabirizi rearing her goats at Mikiasi Farm in Chichusa, Luwero district. She has been in the goat business for 3 years now. Know your member of parliament. They bring you Atim Lee Buti Jackson, that is Arua Central Division. Michael Kakembo, Entebbe Municipality. Kevin Kala Ojanga Palisa, women member of parliament. And today in history, it was on this very date, in the same month, the year 2007, when 11 perished in an accident. 11 people died and 15 others were seriously injured in a road accident in a morning of February 18th, 2007, when a Fuso lorry heading to South Sudan overturned on Kampala Gulu Highway in Masindi district. Police spokesperson by then, that is Edward Ochom, said the accident occurred when the tire of a lorry burst. Still in history today, on this very date, in 1999, Congo rebels gained ground. Congolese rebels under their leader, Professor Wamba Dia Wamba, said Laurent Kabila and his allies were fleeing the northern western town of Businga as rebel forces advanced from the north to east. Now on COVID-19 statistics, we always urge you here, please perfect those drills and ensure you're not part of these statistics. Uganda, so far, we've lost 331 people have succumbed to COVID-19. Rwanda, they have lost 240 persons. Kenya, 1,795 persons. South Sudan, 77 people have succumbed to COVID-19. Countries worst hit, USA is leading, India, Brazil, Russia, and the United Kingdom.
Daily Guide brings you in the news Donald Rukare, the incoming Uganda Olympics Committee president, who was announced unopposed, and the post and what next. You also look at the pilot who has retired after 40 years of service. From the archives, they bring a very interesting picture with President Idi Amin that is circled, joining residents in a dance to celebrate the launch of a water scheme aimed at improving water accessibility back in the 1970s. Today in history, Kenya rebel leader arrested in Uganda. The year was 1995, and you're looking at John Odongo, a Kenyan rebel leader for Popular Resistance Army. You also look at today in history, the East African Community Leaders Meeting. The year was 1966. And of course, Uganda's first, interesting today, the first to own a gun. That was Kabaka Suna, being the first Ugandan to own a gun. And the guns came to the country in 1940. Looking at the Daily Monitor Sports, we look at the Australian Open. Shock as Rafael Nadal is out of the Australian Open. You have Afro Basketball beckoning for silverbacks. They are returning into action. And you have the Afro Basketball qualifiers fixtures on as given to you by Daily Sports. You also look at sports in summary. Arsenal investigate Aubameyang COVID-19 tattoo. In athletics, you're looking at Kiplangat looking to rise higher at Africa cross-country meet. And in football, relief for KCCA and Mike Mutebi.
Vision Sports today inside Barcelona in a crisis. Barcelona in a crisis. Details are there. Silverbacks big moment. The New Vision brings you that. Then count on me. That is the President-elect Uganda Olympics Committee, Dr. Ronald Lukwari, says count on me, and he'll ensure smooth delivery of services there. And also they give you more regarding Afro basketball, the qualifiers there and the games that are happening. We see today Cape Verde versus Morocco, Uganda versus Egypt, and on the 20th we shall see Uganda, Morocco, and on the 21st Uganda versus Cape Verde. These are some of the stories that are in the dailies this morning. Well, when we return, Priscilla will be taking us through traffic updates. But raining, and of course for the drivers, just some tips. The roads are slippery.
Yeah.
So please be mindful as you cruise very fast.
Well, you can't cruise because upon rain, it comes with traffic jam. No sooner has it rained than traffic jam will be picking up. So be aware of that. You either move now. Actually, the honest truth is better you move in the rain than after the rain, because the traffic that picks up after the rain can hold you for over 2 hours. Yeah. But traffic updates up next on Good Morning Uganda.
Live from Now Avenue in UBC Studios. This is Good Morning Uganda.
Stay connected to the largest 4G network in Uganda, anytime, anywhere, using the Airtel 4G Pocket MiFi, available at only 123,000 Uganda shillings. This comes with 15 GB free, valid for a month. You can connect up to 10 users at a go and still enjoy a shared yet unmatched internet experience. Dial *175*9# to activate free 15 GB. Visit the nearest Airtel shop to get one today. Airtel, the smartphone network. Airtel is regulated by the Uganda Communications Commission.
Alleluia Jinga Tea Drink na Alleluia Tamalaini Drink.
Ebikushikibwaho aba area reflexology health solution and divisional center ebirikushiraho teresimu 07733737 0393
Hello, my name is Dr. Henry Dungu, a consultant in hematology and oncology. Health promotion and disease prevention programs focus on keeping people healthy. They aim to engage and empower individuals and communities to choose healthy behaviors and make changes that reduce the risk of developing chronic diseases and other illnesses. Join me on New Health Chat every Thursday at 9 p.m. on UBC TV, sponsored by National Medical Stores, who are mandated to procure, store and distribute essential medicines and medical supplies to all public health facilities in the country.
Coming soon on UBC. Food is more than just a great meal. It's even better when it's prepared with art. The Big Kitchen, coming soon on your public broadcaster, brought to you by...
Because we've learned to savor the moments that were always there, and they never tasted this good.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala. This is Good Morning Uganda.
Good morning, Uganda, and it is a rainy morning. I guess that the month of March being around the corner and the rainy season coming to us yet again, it's time for you to get ready to actually be planting. If you are a farmer, now is the best time. But speaking of the best time, as I had referred to you earlier, now is the best time to actually get moving because it is raining, and so there's barely anyone on the road because they're all waiting for the rain to stop and then they can't get to their next location. Now that means that there's going to be a lot of jam building up, but let us look at some of the places that could bring about some jam building up. We do have the Kampala-Jinja highway this morning. It may look clear, especially for vehicles that are heading into Nakawa and Chireka, but coming from Nakawa you get to see that there's barely any jam. Of course, maybe the orange zones do show you the fact that there is a traffic light here where you have ShopRite intersecting with the Lugogo bypass route. So this is the only area that may have a challenge because it is manned by the traffic lights, and hence you do see the interpretation of those traffic lights into the orange lines on either side. These vehicles are supposed to be continuing here, and the vehicles from Jinja Road into Nakawa are also supposed to be continuing there on that other side. So away from that, it does look clear for now, but every time it rains, this area actually floods because it is a valley, and because it's a valley, it collects water, and the drainage, even though it has been worked on over and over again, it still surprises you that it floods to the extent that if you're a border rider, you're using a bicycle, or even if you're using a saloon car, as long as it's short, you might have a challenge using this route this morning in consideration of the current weather. So it is raining right now, so if you're going to be using this route, please put that into consideration. The other area that you want to look at is Nakawa, especially around the business park, and equally on this other side where you have the market, you have the taxi park around this area. Many of these vendors also do their trading on the street, and they do affect the flow of traffic, especially going into Nakawa and Spear Motors. And also this area in particular has so many feeder roads joining onto the main Kampala-Jinja highway, especially Katalima Road that brings in all the residential traffic coming in from the upper sides of Ntinda, the likes of Naguru, and you also have so many other residential areas. They will use this route to connect to the Kampala-Jinja highway, and it always has a lot of traffic every single morning, to the extent that you do have a traffic officer here that has to stop these vehicles. Now that may take about 20 to 30 minutes of that traffic stoppage. Again, put that into consideration because it does build up to the traffic that we always experience. Now, as you have noticed, it has actually turned red. And those are very serious red lines. Now, what happens every single morning for vehicles coming in from Chireka Banda and into Nakawa, there's always 2 to 3 lines coming in from that direction, and they do affect the flow of jam. Now, what that interprets for vehicles that are heading into Nakawa and Chireka Banda is that they will have to fix themselves at the edge of the road to be able to find their way into the greater part of the road, which does again affect the flow of jam. Also, you do have some jam building up from Tinder Road. You do have jam that is also coming through, both are coming through and going out of Nakawa Spear Motors, and then you also have a jam build up at Nakawa Jinja route. So we can basically say that this is a red zone, and red means danger. If you are coming from this area, you might want to consider alternative routes. Now the alternative routes are, if you can use get access through Ntinda, you can go through the University, Chambago University. You're going to end up on the other side where you have the Kavaka's Palace. Then you'll end up in Chigoge Road, which will end you up in Minister's Village. Then perhaps you can enter Ntinda. Alternatively, if you're coming from Chireka Banda where you're getting, you might want to use the downer route, which is Chireka Road, joins you to Chinawataka Road, and then you are able to maybe use Bugolobi to get into the heart of the city, because clearly these red lines are going to be hefty, especially the fact that it has rained trained. It clearly shows you, and again, we see them stretching all the way to Banda stage. We're seeing them continuously stretching all the way into Chireka. We're seeing them stretching and continuing all the way into the trading center in Chireka. Unfortunately for you, I was referring you to Chireka Road, using Chireka Road and joining Chinawataka, and as we can clearly see that route, it's also having a lot of jam that is being picked up on the map. So we get to see a lot of jam on Chireka Road. Chireka Road does lead you to Chinawataka Road, and well, I guess if you're coming from these areas, you might really find all those banners. People usually follow taxis. If you're looking for alternatives, you might want to follow a taxi. It will lead you to the heart of the city, because clearly, even in Chinawataka, especially this junction here that usually has a lot of jam because trucks use it a lot, will also give you an issue there. If you're going to use Chireka Road continuing all the way to Bugolobi, maybe then that would be the option for you to get into the heart of the city. Okay, Bugolobi into maybe Chitintale Road, that could be an option for you to get into the heart of the city. Chitintale Road will connect you to Port Bell Road. Also, you can have Chireka Road all the way intersecting at Port Bell Road. So maybe if you can go through Bugolobi, the rest of Port Bell Road into Luzira is looking clear. Now let's follow Port Bell Road and see how the traffic is building up there. Unfortunately, around Silver Springs, you do have some traffic jam that is building up there. Obviously, it's a residential area on the lower end, it's a residential area on the upper end. So people are trying to get into the heart of the city to be able to do the business for the day. Now, the other intersecting routes that you can connect from Chinawataka Road is Chwatu Road. It also does connect you back to the New Port Bay Road. Also, Ismail Road that connects in from Chireka Road will be another alternative route for you to be able to stay away from the jam that is happening on the Kampala-Jinja Highway right now. It connects you to the New Port Bay Road, and the New Port Bay Road also has some jam, especially around Akamwesi Hostel. You do have some jam up until Mob's Main Gate. That's when it starts to clear up a little bit, and of course this is explained by the traffic lights that join you to the Kampala-Jinja Highway. Again, around Nakawa Business Park is where you do have the traffic lights that do influence how the flow of jam is. So if we can really just use this to interpret the fact that even if you're using New Portville Road, you may require some sort of patience to be able to get into the next destination that you are getting into it. But if you're a pedestrian, please carry an umbrella or carry a raincoat. Now would be a good time to carry a raincoat, because clearly it's going to be raining for a number of days as far as the weekdays are concerned. With that in consideration, we come to a close-up of the traffic updates, and please be safe on the road.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala. This is Good Morning Uganda.
Stay connected to the largest 4G network in Uganda, anytime, anywhere, using the Airtel 4G Pocket MiFi, available at only 123,000 Uganda shillings. This comes with 15 GB free, valid for a month. You can connect up to 10 users at a go and still enjoy a shared yet unmatched internet experience. Dial *175*9# to activate free 15 GB. Visit the nearest Airtel shop to get one today. Airtel, the smartphone network. Airtel is regulated by the Uganda Communications Commission.
Coming soon on UBC. Food is more than just a great meal. It's even better when it's prepared with art. The Big Kitchen. Coming soon on your public broadcaster. Brought to you by...
Because we've learned to savor the moments that were always there, and they never tasted this good. It's no secret that ICT makes learning easy.
The strides made in our field could not be possible without it.
And now we can watch our favorite show.
My radio is my best friend.
UCC provides an enabling regulatory environment and policy guidance for healthy competition. We also facilitate ease of doing business in the communications sector through licensing, standardization, spectrum management, tariff regulation, rural communication development, and consumer empowerment. An informed consumer is an empowered consumer. UCC supports local content and innovations. Driving the development of a robust communication sector in Uganda is Uganda Communications Commission.
Enjoy great value from Airtel with the all-new My Pakalast combo offers. We have customized especially for you the best deals on minutes, data, and SMS with our 3-in-1 My Pakalast combo to give you the best value as you stay in touch with friends and family. To activate My Pakalast voice combo, dial *100 *2 *1 hash to get started.
Airtel, the smartphone network.
The day the world stopped was the day we found where to go. From now on, we are not going to leave anything on our plates. Because we've learned to savor the moments that were always there. And they never tasted this good.
Are you money wiser? As we seek to improve our knowledge on the understanding of money matters, before any money leaves your life, ask yourself, am I money wiser?
The Be Money Wiser talk show is here to give you a platform to share your real-life financial experiences to be able to unlearn, relearn, and transform your lives.
I took a loan. I invested the money and it disappeared.
We need to decipher and understand whether forex trading is indeed so risky or manageably risky for all of us to invest in.
You can have trust with your clients, trust them anyhow that you can, as long as they are paying in cash.
Let's be money wiser.
Buyogera nyaffe Uganda ku Radio Africa tolemwa kumwenya olw'akamwenyumwenyu akajjudde abanywanyi. Embeera y'obudde yatukolako mukwano n'obutonde obutubeezaawo ne butusobozesa buli omu okubeerawo mu ngeri ye kuba ffenna tuli banjawulo ne mu ngeri gye tukwasaganyamu emirimu gyaffe. Naye ekitugatta ne tufuuka omuntu omu bwe buwoomye buva mu kyokunywa ekyaleeruya Gingated Drink n'aleeruya Tamarin Drink eddekende erikumala ennyonta ate nga wejjanjaba omubiri gwo. Ekyokunywa kino kye kitegeera emibiri gyaffe kuba kya butonde 100 ku 100. Woomerwa ekyokunywa kirimu omubisi gw'enkooge Alleluia Tamarin Drink n'Alleluia Gingated Drink bikolebwa ba Alleluia Reflexology Healthy Solution and Nutritional Research Center Limited. Weefunira ekyokunywa kya Alleluia leero okuva ku maduuka wonna. Bakubire ku noti 393 24 15 66.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala. This is Good Morning Uganda.
Indeed, it is the Pearl of Africa, and the rains down in Africa here in Uganda as we speak. It is raining in Kampala and I believe in some suburbs, but we are here to ensure that we make your morning the best by giving you a cup of tea full with a lot of things. We had press review, we had a newsreel, we had local, international. Now welcome to Good Morning Uganda Agenda. And today we are going to be talking science. We are going to be looking at the role of technology in achieving the Sustainable Development Goals, that is the SDGs. How can we use technology to achieve this? And with me in studios, I'm very excited because I'm having a scientist, and this is Dr. Joyce Nabende, who is a lecturer, Department of Computer Science, Makerere University, but also the head of the Makerere University Artificial Intelligence Laboratory. Now, good morning, Doctor.
Good morning.
How have you been?
Fine, thank you.
Since the lockdown, now for you, you're back, you've been teaching all through, researching.
Researching mainly, yes. But we are also back to teaching now.
Also back to teaching.
Yes, we are.
The word I love here. Yes, we have so many scientists, kind of, but head of the Artificial Intelligence Laboratory. That sounds so big. Just throw more light. Artificial intelligence.
Thank you very much for the question. So the word is not so complicated, and I believe many of us have encountered artificial intelligence or machine learning as we go along with our day-to-day life. So what we are trying to do with artificial intelligence is to try and use the intelligence we have in our brains, but give that to the computers to help us function and solve day-to-day tasks as we go along. Yes.
Well, let's go straight to our topic, which is the role of technology in achieving the Sustainable Development Goals. We're going to look at more of the areas of health and agriculture. You, the scientist, always the president refers to you as finding solutions to the problems. How does technology come in here?
Thank you for the question. So when I think about technology, I always try to think about it in terms of ICTs, and particularly we also think about what can we do with that kind of technology that we have that is around us. So if I ask anyone what is around you, the first piece of technology that you think is around you will be your mobile phone. So if we have that mobile phone, then I will think of what can I do with the mobile phone, what can I do with the access to internet that I have in order to help me to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals, and particularly for health and agriculture that you have actually been able to mention. So that is the area that we try to focus on, yes.
And how do we apply technology here in these areas? For example, basically looking at what we have at our ivory tower.
Yes, thank you very much. So I will try and speak based on the work that we try to do at the Makerere Artificial Intelligence Lab. So we are driven by the passion and the fact that we have these very many issues around us, so problems that we have around us, but which we think that technology can be able to solve when applied appropriately. So for example, if I think about a farmer who's down there in Masindi, and I'm thinking, oh, what do they have? They have a mobile phone. What problem do they have? They probably have a problem in diagnosing the diseases that they have in their garden. So then what comes to my head is, how can I be able to help this farmer? So what we have done and developed in the Makerere AI Lab is to think about developing machine learning and artificial intelligence technologies that can be installed on the farmer's mobile phone. So what the farmer does is that they go to their field, they take an image of their cassava plant, and automatically they are able to get a diagnosis on their phone saying, oh, you have this particular disease. And
that fast?
Yes, that fast.
Wow, technology, yes, now.
That fast. And you know, with disease spread, early detection is very important. So if they're able to detect the diseases very early, then they're able to take measures quite quickly before the disease can spread in the garden. So that's one example in agriculture that we do.
And then we move to the field of health.
So if we are moving to the field of health, I'll talk about one of the projects that we are pioneering, which is around disease diagnosis, but looking at it from malaria. So I know many of us have been to the hospital, and when you go and you're not feeling well, what they'll tell you is that they'll send you to the lab to take blood out of you so that we can be able to look under the microscope and see what kind of parasites or what's the amount of parasites that the person has with their blood. So what we have done with the work with machine learning, again, with what we are doing in the lab, is we've been able to develop, again, machine learning models powered on the mobile phone. Instead of having the radiologist go and look under the microscope, we go and have an adapter attached to a mobile phone, and someone is able to take a picture of that slide. And based on that picture, we have a model on the on our mobile phone that's able to do the count of the plasmodia in the blood smear that has been taken from the blood of the patient. And I hope I got all those science, the medical terms very correctly, but well, that I'm looking at it from the machine learning perspective. And within an instant, you're able to have the count of plasmodia based on the machine learning algorithms that we have developed.
Of course, it's creating unemployment to one level, but of course the world rotates on technology. Doctor, how have Ugandans perceived these technologies that you're coming up with?
So I think Ugandans are very excited about this. They're receptive. They see the potential of what technology can be able to do for them. So if I can give you an example, and I know many of our users in Uganda, especially the youth, are very tech savvy. So they will pull out their iPhones and they will speak to their iPhones and say, oh, hello, Siri. And then Siri will wake up and say, hello, Joyce. What can I do? How is the weather? And I know Siri would respond to us right now and say, oh, it's very cold or it's raining. So what we want to do is we want to also be able to build up these technologies, not in English, but we want to build them up in our local languages, and that is in Luganda. So part of the work that we are doing is also trying to build up the language resources for our language, which is Luganda, and we've been able to push for that by launching Luganda as one of the second African languages on a platform called the Common Voice platform. That is a great achievement because besides Kinyarwanda, this is the only second African language there. So people can go there, they can donate their voices, and by donating their voices, I mean they can go and read the sentences that are there in Luganda. And in the end, we are going to have a very good data set of speech and text that we can be able to use to train our machine learning models and speech recognition models, such that eventually when I have my grandmother in the village, she can get to her mobile phone and say, hello Siri, but saying that in Luganda because we have the technologies that we've all built together. Yes, Olyocha Naroga, and then the phone is able to respond to her in Luganda.
Very interesting technologies that we are seeing being done at Makerere University. Now we are looking at the role of technology in achieving, that is the sustainable development goals, and Makerere University is leading in this to ensure that they drive Uganda to that. They drive the people they are teaching. They drive Uganda where we can achieve these goals faster, quicker, using technologies. And we have the head of the Artificial Intelligence Lab that is at Makerere University. Dr. Joyce, as we still understand these technologies more, please help us understand how best an ordinary person can benefit from these technologies. Because most of the times they're seen for the elites.
Yes. Yeah, so if we are talking about SDGs, and maybe one particular one is looking at e-government. So now we all know that if I wanted to apply for a passport, that I don't have to go to the passport office. I can go online and apply for whatever I need to do online. And the systems have all been interconnected from the passport system. You're connected to the bank system where you're able to pay. Or if I am applying for a trading license right now, all those technologies can be, all those services can, and are now brought closer to the person down there through just the click of one button on the internet, through a web browser. So these technologies are not up there. We are actually already interfacing with them with our day-to-day work, because the government has also made an effort through this e-government interoperability between the different services, such that we can be able to have access to them easily.
Let's also look at something that we want to understand better, which is Earth observation. This is one of the things I came across when I was trying to read more regarding how best technologies that you're working upon can benefit the ordinary person. And this is Earth observation, how technology through Earth observation can benefit the ordinary person. First, give us a clear definition when we refer to Earth observation in line with technology.
Thank you very much. So when we are looking at technologies, as I already said, one of the examples of the technologies that we can use is machine learning. However, if we look at machine learning, what is important to build a machine learning model is this aspect of data. And so the example I gave in agriculture, the data is image data, the image data that is coming from the garden. If it's health, it's the image data that's under the microscope. That is very important to build and use a machine learning model. So if I look at another aspect of of data. Earth observation is one kind of data. So if we look at Earth observation, the quickest thing that someone should think about is this satellite imagery data. I know that we've probably all heard about that. So we have open space agencies that are providing us with this satellite observation data that someone can be able to pick out and use for building the machine learning model. So the model is the technology, but we need the data to build this technology, and this Earth observation or satellite imagery data that's up there that you're able to see, oh, what's happening down here? Oh, I can easily be able to look at that data and map out the roads. These are roads, maybe this is houses, this is how the top of the houses look like. Oh, I think this is forest cover, because when you look at that satellite imagery, that satellite image, you can be able to differentiate, even from our lay eyes, we are able to differentiate and say this is a road,
for
this
example,
is a forest.
if you go to Google,
yes,
let's try to soften it to the ordinary person. If you have a Google map,
yes,
that is a satellite image.
Yes, so if you have a Google map,
you just interpret it and then.
Yeah, so when you go to Google Maps, you can have one where we are only seeing the roads, but you can also have one which gives you a bigger dimension, more like a 3D dimension. So then it's able to show you that this is how it looks like in 3D. And then from that kind, you're able to understand at that view that Google is seeing, or the satellites of Google are seeing over Uganda, that this is how it actually looks like, and this is how it's mapped out, or this is how Uganda is mapped out.
So how are you venturing into this, and how do we stand to benefit?
Yeah, so this is important. So for us, from machine learning as a research lab, but also from Makerere University training, especially because that's what we do. These are very important technologies that we can equip people, and these will apply ordinarily to very many organizations that we have here in Uganda. So I will just pick out one. So if I look at the National Forestry Authority, so they are, one of their mandates is to make sure that they ensure that we have trees growing. So they want to be able to track afforestation and deforestation in Uganda over time. But you know how forests are very thick. If I'm a human being and I went into the forest, I would probably get lost. But if you look at it from above, from on top, and that's what the satellite data would look like, we're able to look at it from that view from up there. So we are able to, for example, I can come and take a view today in 2020, and I can compare with the view that was taken in 1990, and I'm able to tell, oh, over these two views, what happened in this particular area for the forest. Was there more afforestation? Was there more deforestation? And from that angle, you're able to tell over a wide area what has happened, what change has happened, for example. Yeah, that would be a simple one.
Thank you for simplifying it. But Doctor, many a times we've seen Makerere University come up with very good innovations in the area of agriculture, in the area of health, but they have not been able to be accessed by the ordinary person. So it remains on your CVs as doctors, researchers. It remains in seminars you hold at different platforms. One time I was in Zambia, and there was this very good scientist in Uganda. Coming up in food sciences, I think it's Dr. Ivan Mukisa.
Yes,
the man had developed some preservative that can keep Bushella, all this. And what was amazing, that in Uganda it wasn't known. But Makerere University had this research. This man was selling it was giving information to the rest of the world. I had to approach him and ask, but gentlemen, back home, farmers are failing even to preserve this for the next day. But at these international platforms, we are shining bright, right from introduction. So what has been the challenge for these good discoveries, breakthroughs in science, to trickle down to the ordinary Ugandan and benefit from them?
Thank you very much. That's a very important question, and we always grapple with that question of how I'm doing research, how can it be able to benefit the person out there, or even how can they get to know about it? And I believe that there are several steps that can be taken. Of course, one of them is this. You've hosted me on this show. Thank you very much, and I believe this provides one of the coverage areas that we require for people to get to know what we are working on. But most importantly, I think for us in the lab, we have been very deliberate. If we are coming up with a solution, we collaborate very closely with the eventual beneficiaries of this technology. So much of the work we are doing, we're working closely with NACRI, which is a body, a constituent body of NARO in Namlonge. We work very closely with their team, particularly Dr. Chris in Namlonge, because then they're able to be the adapters of this technology that we are using, early adapters, but also that they're able to connect us with the smallholder farmers that are important and will adapt the technology. Because as we are in the lab, we might not have access to all the farmers who might take up the technology, but if we work very closely with these experts in all the different fields, you're working very closely with an expert in Mulago or in Mengo, for example, in health, this can be able to help and put out or push out the technology that you're using. But also looking at it from a policy perspective, I think also from our side, that might be something that we have to work deliberately on to ensure that much of this work that we are doing comes out, through knowledge transfer workshops, but also policy briefs that the government can be able to adopt, as well.
Very interesting. And we hope, well, it will come down to each one of us to better benefit from this than just remaining at the ivory tower. Let's now look at these trainings. Recently, I'm aware that you're going to have a boot camp, and this is going to basically focus at ensuring that you come out with the best ways to push forward these technologies.
Yes, thank you. Yes, so Makerere Artificial Intelligence Lab, together with an organization called Radiant Earth Foundation in the USA, and also sponsored by GIZ, we are going to run a boot camp, which is a training of trainees, where we're going to equip people with skills around machine learning for Earth observation. So we are skilling them how to manage and how to handle this Earth observation data through machine learning technologies.
Yes. Talking about Earth observation data, let's look at the various forms, because we know in every sector, Earth observation data, this is science. Earth observation data is very critical. Yes. But actually, it requires experts to analyze it. If you are to look at weather forecast, I'm trying to find a way. Please let's try to break these things more easily for our viewer to understand. You need an expert who is going to interpret that information. Exactly. You need an expert who will at least take people through the weather forecast, the clouds, the winds, and all this. Yes. So, do we have enough people when you talk about this? Because I believe there's so much information there that is not even getting out because people cannot interpret this data.
Thank you. Yes, that's a very important question. I think that's the gap that we are trying to meet with this boot camp. I think we've realized that there's the lack of expertise, particularly for interpreting and understanding this Earth observation data and using it in several sectors. For example, for planning purposes, in agriculture, like if I wanted to use it to predict crops, crop yield. There are also so many areas, as you've mentioned, where this data is there, but interpretation and understanding how to develop the models for it, that expertise is not there. And so that's why this bootcamp is important, because we've identified that there's that gap, there's that need, and so it's very critical that we can be able to fill it through this training that we have, or that we've organized.
Okay. Who are the people that are going to be in this training? Am I welcome? Is it, or are you looking at scientists? Because what we want is to understand this information is so out there, but people, I believe, they're eager to get to understand science more and make science part of their lives to be a life changer.
Yes, so for everyone out there, if you have entry-level data science techniques, or if you're very interested in remote sensing, I believe there are people who...
Doctor, we agreed before this that you soften some of these terms.
Yes.
Because not everybody out there is a scientist.
Is a scientist. Okay, so if you're interested and you want to understand how the satellite works, for example, how I can interpret and use this data, even just that spark of interest, I think you're welcome for that training. I know that there are people who are, for example, out there maybe in this long vacation that we have been looking into programming languages. I hope that's simple enough. And maybe one of the programming languages that people have looked at is Python, one of the languages. And by programming languages, I mean building up how to build the technology. We build the technology based on a particular language. For example, if I wanted to build the technology on your mobile phone, there's a language in which I have to build that particular technology. So one of the languages out there is called Python. And so this is very important. And that field, we refer to that field as data science, where people have that particular skill to be able to do the things that we are talking about. So if there's anyone who even has that interest of, I have read about data science somewhere, I have interest in Python somewhere, they are also welcome for the course. Yes.
Very interesting. Technically kicked out regarding Python. Now when you mention Python, I was saying, okay, hope that, but well explained. Very interesting. Today we are looking at the role of technology in achieving the sustainable development goals. And with us is Dr. Joyce Nabende, who is a lecturer, Department of Computer Science, Makerere University, but also the head of Makerere University Artificial Intelligence Laboratory. It's all about science, but the world rotates on science. You and me need science, and it's science actually that we are what we are today, because that's how we've been able to fight diseases, that's how we've been able to detect natural calamities and where we prepare ahead. Doctor, let's also look at this. Information is very useful. Science is very useful, but only if it's respected and listened to. How, for Makerere University, you've carried out a lot of programs. You've made various discoveries, solutions to problems, various predictions. How is government responding towards this in ensuring smooth operations?
Thank you for that question. I think that government has really been our #1 enabler for the kind of research that we are trying to do at Makerere University, and in all fields. One is, first of all, they've been able to aid us with funding to even do this research. Most of the times for me the reports are funded by research by... Yes, so now we have funded by the government of Uganda. So that's one thing we are very grateful for as Makerere University, that we have now received funding to be able to carry out our research here in Uganda. And so I find that as a very good environment and enabler, and to show that, to know that the government is actually behind us as we try and go ahead and push out these technologies that we are developing at the university.
Okay, you've gotten the technology. I'll take an example, weather forecast. There's so much that you've done at Makerere there. These help us predict some of the natural calamities. Have we seen action regarding the discoveries and reports being made?
Yes, I think so that we have to get it back now to the bodies that are in charge of this. So I think, for example, the weather forecast that you're talking about, I know that there's been a project in Makerere that has worked very closely with NEMA and with UNMA, which is the Uganda National Meteorological Organization, where they've been able to work very closely to even have one of the applications, as you mentioned, is one of the weather forecasts. And that's one of the applications that are out there that are being provided on the mobile phone. Either you have your smartphone, but even if it's just a small feature phone, you're able to use a USSD code and send it to the particular number that they have provided us with, and it's able to give us or give prediction about the weather. So as I mentioned earlier, working very closely with these government institutions has really enabled the uptake and the scaling out of the kind of technology that we're building.
Going back to the bootcamp that is going to be having people with specific ideas or specific information regarding Earth observation, how is this going to be conducted? Do you have facilitators that are coming in?
Thank you for the question. So for this particular bootcamp, yes, we have facilitators. We have people who have been working in the field of machine learning, and also who have been working in the field of Earth observation and remote sensing, and who have applied these two together, because one is a methodology while the other is the data aspect. So we have people who are very skilled and knowledgeable and who are going to be able to train us in this bootcamp. So because of the fact that we are running this across 4 different countries, this bootcamp is going to be held online. Yeah, so it will be held online, and we'll have people who will be available to take us through the sessions online. Yes.
So I think we have a clip of one of the people that are going to be facilitators. Yes. I hope my producer has that.
Another service we offer is training and capacity development, which is why we have partnered with Makerere University. Hello everyone, my name is Hamed Al Mohammed. I'm the Chief Data Scientist and Executive Director at Radiant Earth Foundation. a nonprofit organization based in the United States. Radiant Earth's vision is a strengthened global development community that benefits from high-quality and trusted machine learning and Earth observation resources for a positive global impact. We came into being when we noticed one of the major global problems that was affecting usefulness of geospatial and machine learning technologies, especially as it relates to tackling global problems like food security. That was reference data, also known as training data, which is the building block for machine learning applications, and it lacked geospatial representation. There simply wasn't enough high-quality training data in the global south that data scientists could use and build applications that can offer solutions to the problems we face. For instance, identifying types of crops grown in a region using satellite imagery. We decided to address this need for a more diverse training data sets head-on and launched Radiant ML Hub, the world's first cloud-based and open access repository for geospatial training data. Radiant ML Hub is an open library as well as a community that enables anyone to search and access training data based on the geographical region, labels, type of imagery, as well as a variety of other properties in a standard format. That means a data scientist in Uganda or Kenya can have the same access to high-quality training data like a data scientist in the US. It equals the playing field, or, if you will, democratizes access to machine learning data sets. We also encourage organizations and individuals to host their data on Radiant ML Hub, provided that they allow free and open access to those data sets. Another service we offer is training and capacity development, which is why we have partnered with My Career University and the German Cooperation for International Cooperation, or GIZ, to host this Machine Learning for Earth Observation Bootcamp in March 2021. Radiant Earth is uniquely positioned at the center of the global Earth observation and machine learning domains to build a collaborative community of practice and advanced geospatial machine learning applications. And now that we are training more people in Africa to use these technologies, we are adding to the growing community of practice across the continent who are working to build local solutions to the local problems people face. If you're a data scientist, explore the bootcamp and apply to the training. You can visit our website, radiant.earth, and see the application process and apply. It's free and open to anyone from Uganda, Rwanda, Ghana, and South Africa. If you're interested to access the data from Radiant ML Hub, please visit mlhub.earth and explore the data catalog. Thank you.
The training is free and completely free, so you'll access the website, be able to understand more. I love the fact that this is going to bring together a basket of experts, and they're going to be trained and also sharing more of knowledge. And yeah, but maybe because it's scientific, this time around you're talking about it's kind of virtual. It's not, people are not going to be physically in one place.
Yes.
Why did you prefer this?
So it's because we have people from 4 different African countries, and of course, because of COVID, we would have loved to have all of us together in one room.
Usually it has been coming together in one particular country.
Yes, yeah, but unfortunately that cannot happen this year, but we still want to train people, and so that's why we decided to take it and make it virtual. But the whole instance here is that it's a training of trainees. So after you get trained, you have to train someone else such that you can pass on the skills that you have learned. That's very important for us.
Okay, then do you monitor people that have attended these trainings? Because there are so many trainings that you've done at Makerere University. Yes, and at the end of the day, the trainers of trainings, people just come, get the knowledge and keep it out there.
Yes.
And this does not help us in any way extend more of this information.
Yes, so what we want to do is that before we even give you your certificate, or before we say, yes, you have learned the skills, that you have shown us the capacity to train another person. So we'll be expecting that first. Before we can award you the certificate out of this training, because we want to build this whole cohort of people. But also very importantly, this is going to be a very hands-on training, so we'll not just come and pump things You know, we are going to be hands-on and have build solutions together, because as I said, with this kind of data, it has several applications. So we are going to build the solutions together, have them understood, and then pass on that same knowledge to other people in the same format. Yeah, and finally, we'll also have the resources available online for anyone who's not able to attend the bootcamp. Don't worry. We'll have and other trainings coming up, and we'll have the information available.
So this is on which dates and when is the deadline for people to send in application? Already I've seen one of our colleagues very eager and interested to be part of this training.
Yes, thank you. So the dates are from 22nd March to April 2nd, 2021, and we've extended the deadline up to this weekend on Saturday. That's the deadline for application, but it's just a very easy Google form that people have to fill out. Yeah.
Well, information is out there waiting for you to tap in by also being part of this training. Of course, that is if you have knowledge in these fields. It's all about science and how best we can ensure that we use science to better livelihood and achieve the sustainable development goals. Doctor, time is not our best ally, and we finally come to the end. But before I let you go, can I have your final remarks?
Yeah, thank you so much. I want to say thank you so much for hosting me, and to also thank Radiant Earth for partnering with Makerere University to carry out this training, and for GIZ who's funding this training together with us. And to everyone out there, this is one of the so many trainings that we have. Please don't forget to come to the Makerere AI Lab. It's open, or just go to our website, www.air.ug, where you'll find more information about the work that we do.
Thank you so much. That is Dr. Joyce Nabende, who is a lecturer, Makerere University, Department of Computer Science, but also the head of Makerere University Artificial Intelligence Lab. Science is the way to go. Please, whenever there's an opportunity to learn, to know more, take use of it, and ensure that we better the lives of our very own lives and the lives of the entire world, because now the world is a globe and it's science that moves the earth. Have a lovely day. God bless you. Remember, COVID is still around, and perfect those drills. Good morning, Uganda.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala. This is Good Morning Uganda.
Stay connected to the largest 4G network in Uganda, anytime, anywhere, using the Airtel 4G Pocket MiFi, available at only 123,000 Uganda shillings. This comes with 15 GB free, valid for a month. You can connect up to 10 users at a go and still enjoy a shared yet unmatched internet experience. Dial *175*9# to activate free 15 GB. Visit the nearest Airtel shop to get one today. Airtel, the smartphone network. Airtel